We've already sunk $200,000 into this design. We can't turn back now.
Those 15 words have bankrupted some of the most respected firms in this industry. It's the sunk cost fallacy. The invisible red flag bleeding your project dry while you're busy checking the schedule.
Welcome to AEC Leadership. We advance the expertise of leaders and the competence of talent across the built environment. Today, we're breaking down a definitive 4-step framework for high-stakes decision-making. Stick with me until the end. I'm going to share the specific pre-mortem tactic that once saved a Tier 1 contractor $14 million in liquidated damages and rework in a single afternoon.
The price of ego. Most AEC leaders believe they are paid for their technical expertise. They're wrong. As you move up the ladder, you stop being paid for what you know and start being paid for the quality of your decisions. In design and engineering, we live by the math. In leadership, we often trust our gut. That is a dangerous pivot. A gut feeling on a $100 million project is more hazardous than a structural flaw. Why? Because you can fix a beam with a plate and some bolts, but you can't fix a catastrophic legal judgment once the ink is dry. We're breaking down the framework used by the industry's most profitable principles to stay in the black, even when a project begins to bleed out from 1,000 small change orders. The biology. Why smart engineers make dumb choices. We've all seen it. A brilliant lead engineer refuses to pivot, even when the data says the design is failing. It's not a lack of intelligence, it's cognitive ease. Your brain is a resource hog. It wants to stay in System 1, the fast, intuitive mode. On a job site, System 1 saves lives. It's the reflex that helps you spot a safety hazard. But in the boardroom, System 1 is a liability. It favors easy over accurate. To counter this, we have to manually engage System 2. System 1 is your autopilot. System 2 is your quality auditor. System 2 is slow and analytical. This is why you're physically exhausted after a 4-hour design review. The problem? System 2 is lazy. It wants to take the gut feeling from System 1 and rubber stamp it. The legendary Bent-Flyvbjerg study of over 12,000 megaprojects found that 91.5% of projects go over budget or schedule. Data shows these failures aren't usually caused by bad math. They are caused by strategic misrepresentation. We lowball the risks to get the yes, then act surprised when the unforeseen happens. We call it being competitive, but the data calls it a math lie. The time travel framework. How do we stop the lie? We use temporal distance, specifically the 10-10-10 rule. The next time you're tempted to approve a subcontractor with a questionable backlog just to save the budget today, stop and ask.
1. 10 days? The budget looks great. The immediate pressure is off.
2. 10 months? The sub is failing. The critical path is slipping. You're spending your weekends in mediation. This is where your profit margin dies. 3. 10 years? You're in a deposition explaining a flashing detail or a foundation choice because you prioritized a 10-day schedule gain. You're looking at the statute of repose and insurance claims long after the retention is paid. This forces your architect brain to override your firefighter brain. If the 10-month outlook is a train wreck, the 10-day win is a trap. The $14 million tactic, the pre-mortem. I promised you a $14 million saving. It came from a pre-mortem. Most firms rely on the post-mortem to figure out why they lost money, but in AEC, a post-mortem is just an autopsy. The project is already dead. Instead, perform a pre-mortem before you sign the contract. Gather your leads, design, VDC, PMs, and supers, and give them this exact prompt. It's 3 years from now. The project is a total disaster. We're in litigation and our fee is gone. Now, tell me exactly how we failed. This utilizes Prospective Hindsight. By treating failure as a certainty, you remove the stigma of being a pessimist. It turns a negative employee into a profit. That $14 million save? It didn't come from a VP. It came from a junior superintendent who knew that a local noise ordinance would shut down 2 a.m. concrete pours. Between the lost schedule days and liquidated damages, that one insight saved 8 figures. The pre-mortem gave him the psychological safety to speak up. If this tactic just changed how you view your next kickoff, hit that like button so the algorithm shows this to more of our industry peers.
The 70% speed secret. But there is a counter danger: analysis paralysis. If you wait for every RFI to be closed before making a move, the project dies from standing time. You must categorize your choices using the door principle.
One-way doors. Decisions nearly impossible to reverse, like pouring the foundation or setting the structural grid. For these, you wait for high-certainty data. You are slow. You are meticulous. Two-way doors. Decisions you can walk back, like temporary site logistics or interior finishes. Execute at 70% information. The best AEC leaders make fast decisions on things that can be fixed and deliberate decisions on things that can't. Know which door you're standing in front of before you argue for an hour. Finally, remember the sunk cost fallacy. If you ever hear yourself saying, "We've already spent too much to change it," stop. That money is gone. Your decision from this second forward must only be based on the future cost and the future benefit. Recap. 1. Engage System 2. Slow down the make or break calls. 2. Apply 10-10-10. Think about the warranty, not just the bid. 3. Run the pre-mortem. Fail on paper so you don't fail on site. 4. The 70% rule. Maintain momentum on reversible choices. Decision-making is the only skill that truly scales your leadership. Building the future is hard. Thinking clearly shouldn't be. Comment below. What's the toughest pivot you've ever had to make on a project?
Keep advancing your expertise. I'll see you in the next one.